Before the video begins, I'd like to give a shout out and thank you to the people on screen for supporting me on Patreon. Enjoy the video.
Hello and welcome to some more Sega GT. This is part 11, and in this part we are going to be continuing where we left off. But before I do that, I thought I would show a little bit of an extra thing. Now off screen, I went ahead and completed that original car race again that I did in part 10, where I got first in every single race. Now, one of the things that this game tends to do, especially with a lot of the original events that involve original cars, I believe they also do it with a little bit in the official races, is that there is a second prize that can be won. In this particular case, it was a Honda Z Turbo in a unique orange color like this. Not particularly the most pretty color in the world, but it is nevertheless a unique color variation for the Z Turbo, so there is that. Not that I really plan on driving it anyways, because for this part I'm going to be getting myself back into the Honda Beat. The only thing I have the only thing I have to do first though is I got to go into here and take out the engine, because that is the wrong screen. There we go. I have to go in here and strip that stuff off the car. So it puts it back down to its stock output of 64 horsepower, but it should work just fine, because that means with those taken off the car, we can get around our little thing here. Now, I believe every other part is fine. I think it only matters for the engine. And because we're in such small cars anyways, I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference to have a 64 horsepower car. The only way we might see any trouble is if a Daihatsu Storia X4 shows up. But I'm not really betting on that happening. So let's go back over into small, and we're going to do the Hertz Novice Car Cup around Snowy Mountain, Great Rock Road, and Solid Circuit. Same prize amount. Okay, and yep, it looks like there is no Storia. It's actually just Optis and Topos, although there isn't a Suzuki AltoWorks thrown in there as well. It's actually both variants of the Opti and Topo. There's the two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive versions, and then a two-wheel drive AltoWorks. And then there's, of course, me and my Honda Beat. So yeah, since there is no Storia X4, we should be just fine. So as we start with Snowy Mountain, the fastest lap here is a 1 minute 13.093. That's just a little bit quicker than the lap time that you would set with the the AltoWorks for the license. Now I know for a fact this thing got off to a better start than that, so. One of the ways too, as I can tell, is like there's always like a slight little like music cue I can tell with this song on this track with that AltoWorks, and I can already tell with the Beat I'm already ahead of that. So not particularly fast. Oh, but I mean, to be fair, it's also only 64 horsepower, so I think that would have a lot to do with it. Yeah, I kind of got turned it a little bit too much, and I ended up bonking the wall there. But I think we should still be fine in terms of getting the lap time here. Oh, absolutely. 1:10.862, very comfortable in the pole position, I would guess. Oh, almost 5 whole seconds over the Suzuki AltoWorks. The Opti at 1:16, the two-wheel drive top at 1:17.5, the Opti four-wheel drive at 1:19.2, and the four-wheel drive top at 1:21.5. Almost 11 seconds back. Jesus. So we get our pole position bonus cash of $500 as we go on to do the actual race. I suspect it should also be a 2-lapper, but could be wrong. Let's take a look. Nope, it is a 2-lapper, I was correct. But yeah, we definitely got a good car for this, because, you know, everything else about the car is all done up. It's just the engine that isn't. Oh, this is interesting. That AltaWorks gets off the line better. Well, I say gets off the line better. I probably do get off the line better, but it might have a little bit more go in everything else. But now I'm starting to close in on it, and I've just passed it. So I think that's all that needs to be said about that. But yeah, so one of the things I've definitely been noticing too with this LP is I've actually really been coercing myself to get one episode out a day again. I have not done that in a very long time, but the fact that I've been convincing myself to get one out a day really makes me feel kind of glad, like a sense of accomplishment for myself, because I used to be able to do that all the time back in the day with the likes of Gran Turismo, with all the LPs I did with, like, you know, Demolition Racer and Tokyo Extreme Racer and Gran Turismo and all that stuff way back then, and I kind of just fell out of that. I could never really get back into the swing of things. That was a 109.7, by the way. That was really quick for an opening lap with a car like this. But what I was trying to say though was, like, it always just kind of bothered me for a long time that I could never really get myself out of that funk, and it looks like with this LP I'm finally starting to do it. I mean, to think I wasn't even considering doing mostly YouTube-styled LPs anymore for a while, then I just said, why not just keep giving it a try, and not only am I enjoying to do it again, but I'm also getting a bit more I'm actually getting a little bit more views for this LP than I expected I was going to. I expected this game was going to be a bit too obscure, and that it would, you know, not particularly get a whole lot. But it's been doing a little bit better than I expected, and I think it might help too that maybe this is for me actually looking up about it. I'm actually the first person to LP the original Sega GT, which is kind of interesting. 2:11.001 total time, and I got just under that 101.6 with a 101.2, so beat 2 of the right times. So yeah, very easy first place victory with the 9 points. Who's going to grab second? It's going to be the AltaWorks and the Opti, so pretty much similar to how the grid was when it started. And I think the others are too far back. Oh, the Topo just finished before the Fade to Black. So we get our $1,000 prize money and an extra $2,000 from our sponsors. It's one of the things I like about this game. The sponsors always stay with you the moment you unlock them. So even the smaller races that you would get you wouldn't get as much money in, you can still at least get a decent amount if you do them. Once you get all the sponsors, because then, you know, once you've gotten all that, making money in this game is pretty easy. So that's always very nice. So, Great Rock Road next. This is going to be the one with the sharp corner, and with all the things I've done to the suspension and the downforce and the tires and whatnot to the beat, it'll be interesting to see how this thing gets on with it. So 1:12.5 is the best lap for this track. I managed to beat the best lap with the beat on Snowy Mountain, so I suspect I should be able to do it here too. Oh, okay, it handles that sharp corner no problem. It has tons of angle, tons of it. Not a sweat. Well, that's good at least. Now all I have to do is just get the car home. Just over 100. But this is one of the reasons I chose to beat first, because it makes for a really decent E-Class vehicle when you do it all up and stuff. The Storia is still probably one of the best, but yeah. And making a Carrozzeria E-Class would probably also be better in some ways. But yeah, a storming 1:07.6. I easily crushed the best time. The Alto second with a 1:13.9. Yeah. So, over 7 seconds in front, basically. Just about. Or close to 7 seconds, I should be saying. Let me see. Yeah, okay, it's over 6 seconds, so yeah, not quite 7, but, you know, math. And it looks like the starting grid is mostly the same. The Topo did get third, and the four-wheel drive Opti managed to get to beat out the two-wheel drive Opti, but the four-wheel drive Topo is still at the back. It's kind of interesting that these four-wheel drive variants are not particularly doing very hot, although I suspect that could be because it's not going to make that huge of a difference in a class with vehicles only making about 63, 64 horsepower. So this is probably where the two-wheel drive ones would probably come in better hand as a result. But yeah, it definitely seems like the Alto does have slightly better acceleration off the start, but once I start picking up a bit of speed here by 6th gear is when I can start to climb back up. And wow, they're hitting on the brakes there, which kind of surprised me, but whatever. Probably could have let off just maybe a tad bit more. Not too bad though. Also, I can say I always like the way the Honda Beat has looked. I think visually it's aged pretty well for the kind of car that it is. I at least quite like it. It's very simple. It's very refined, but in a lot of ways it still looks quite a bit fresh for how old of a vehicle it is. Alright, that's one lap down and one more to go. So again, it'll just be a very simple, simple rush to the finish line. Ooh, very nice turn in there. That was actually quite excellent. Okay, I carried way too much speed there. That was quite ugly. Just I felt like I was gonna be able to do it, but I should have let off a little bit. I think that's fine. I don't think it's gonna hurt the car that badly. I mean, not that it matters. I'm so far ahead right now that it really wouldn't matter. That probably did hurt my chances of a sub 1 minute lap, but well, I'll still take it. 2:09.3 total record, 1 minute, .805 fastest lap. And there we go. That is another first place finish. I suspect the Alto Works will still get second. Yep, I don't think that's going to be changing anytime soon. The two-wheel drive Opti getting third, two-wheel drive Topo getting fourth. So yeah, the four-wheel drive Opti and Topo are still still performing the worst. I suspect it's the four-wheel drive Opti in fifth and the Topo in last. So we get $1,000 and a $1,000 chain bonus for managing to win 2 races in a row, and of course another $2,000 for prize money. And yep, I was absolutely correct. The four-wheel drive Opti fifth and the four-wheel drive Topo last. As we come to the final round here at Solid Circuit. So let's do the qualifying as per usual and see how we get on. What's the time I'm going to have to beat? A 1:21.1. That should be easy enough with a vehicle like this. Now this is mostly a very simple track, and for the very large part, with the exception of later on. But I suspect when we get to the actual racing, I shouldn't have any trouble trying to beat the others, simply because this thing will have enough momentum to be able to carry me through. As we passed under the Mazda bridge. The other thing that's worth pointing out is the sponsors are not entirely the same. I think the North American and European ones are the same for those versions, but the Japanese version actually has other sponsors that are of Japanese brands and whatnot. I can't remember the names exactly, but if you ever play the Japanese version, also known as the homologation special, you'll probably notice that a lot of the sponsors are different, which is very interesting, and to say the least. Yeah, no problem with the sharp area there. This car can handle it without a hitch. Coming across the finish with a 1:16.0. That was a pretty good lap. And how far did we finish ahead? 1:23.2 for that Alto. So yeah, that's over 7 seconds. The two-wheel drive Topo actually outbested the two-wheel drive Opti this time, and hey, the four-wheel drive Topo actually did faster than the four-wheel drive Opti, so the four-wheel drive Topo actually doesn't start last this time. It's moving up, though only moving up once. I wouldn't particularly say that's something to write home about. Now, I've only actually seen, out of all the cars that are in the race, I've only actually seen that also works. So what are the other ones looking like in terms of color scheme? I'm kind of interested to see the grid here. We got a gray Opti, a black topo, a kind of creamish Opti, and a white topo. Okay, so very simple and plain. But there's your full grid in a video if you did want to see that. Might actually use that for maybe like a thumbnail of some sorts with the beat in picture, because why not? Yeah, it definitely seems like that also works. It initially gets a better acceleration, which is why it passes. But then it doesn't have the same top end as my beat here, which is where I start to reel it back in. And this is obviously where I pretty much stay in front and never see second place again. Oops, accidentally clipped that a bit. Oh boy, yeah, this thing has a lot of good angle and stuff, so can really handle that corner no problem. Just coming around the bend, and with that, I'll just have one more lap to go. Definitely possible to beat the fastest lap in total record here, no problem. Shouldn't be any problem whatsoever. And yeah, you can see just how much I've pulled away from the others there. Oh, almost got a little bit too close to the guardrail, but managed to just keep it off. Another thing or two I also noticed, which I find really interesting, of course you probably have noticed all the Dreamcast banners that are in the game. In the Japanese version, it actually has the little swirl, like the Dreamcast logo, the swirl. It's only in that version. North American version got rid of, they got rid of it, and then it obviously didn't return for the European version, which is interesting. I guess maybe to keep it simple, I suppose. Although for the European one, they would have had to do a little bit more, as they would have had to change the swirl from like the orange or red or whatever to blue, because another company, a German company, already uses the orange swirl. I think they still use it to this day, in fact. And so, the Dreamcast over in Europe had a blue swirl instead. And there you go. Easy win, and yep, as I suspected, got that best time too. So there we go. I got 9 points in all the races. Is any of them gonna finish before it fades to black? Because I definitely did get quite a bit. And well, it looks like the Alto at least got to finish, but nothing else is gonna finish by the looks of it. Oh, the Opti just by the very, very end there. But there we go. $1,000 for winning, $2,000 for winning 3 races in a row, and another $2,000 from the prize money. So yeah, definitely made at least, I think I probably made all my money back from putting the extra stuff into that beat. So there we go. 27 points is our total. Also getting 18 points, the two-wheel drive Opti 12, the two-wheel drive Topo 9, four-wheel drive Opti 6, and the four-wheel drive Topo coming last in every race with only 3 points. And of course, we're the series champions, so we get our bonus of $10,000 and a bonus card, which, ironically enough, is what I meant from what I was mentioning earlier, the Daihatsu Starya X4, except in a unique red color. You can normally only buy it in white, but if you do that cup, you can get a red version. So I'll quickly just show here in a better view. There it is, though, the red X4. And again, as like I stated, it is one of the best E-Class vehicles in the game, making about 120 horsepower as stock. So, definitely a very good car to use, I believe. And in case you're curious, I couldn't just use my DRS Story X4 because this thing actually makes over 1,000 cc. And I guess that's a good way to kind of compare it between the standard version and the racing version. I could have used one of my works vehicles for this, but I think they have engine things, so it probably wouldn't have been allowed anyways. But yeah, and I don't believe I'm gonna have to go back and redo it, because I believe the Staria is the only vehicle you win from that. I can always find out on my own time anyways. So, but that's gonna do it for today's part. Stay tuned for the next part, in which I'm gonna just quickly go over here and show it. I'm gonna tackle okay, never mind. I was gonna tackle both, but I realized it's also a cup. It's interesting because it just says race, but it's race, cup. So I'll be tackling the naturally aspirated, or as the game calls it, natural air intake engine. The NA small car race, that's gonna be next. So stay tuned for that. As always, thank you guys so much for stopping by, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button to see when I post the next one. You can also come follow me over at Twitter or on Twitch, or you can support the channel by clicking the Patreon link to that, and the links to the Twitch and Twitter. All of that is down below in the description. I will see you all on the next one.